Good afternoon, all the students. I can see happy faces here after this lunch. I understand that we had a very short period of time for your lunch, but yes, definitely this session is also going to be very much interactive. And today's last session is on applying ChatGPT and generative AI in conversational banking. Our today's speaker is Mr. Rakesh Das. I would like to give a brief introduction of today's speaker. So Rakesh sir is an assistant vice president, senior UX designer, research and associate and innovation, CIB Digital. He's an individual with 12 plus years of experience in the industry as a design professional, one who wants to share his expertise with others and demonstrates an effort of creative problem solving. He has demonstrated ability to reduce cost and improving profitability through proper design practices. So this was a very short introduction of Mr. Rakesh sir. I request you to start with your session. I welcome you from MIT School of Distance Education for this Spectrum, the Virtual Conclave 2023. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhagyashree, and thank you, Asha, for the introduction. Okay, so hey, hi everyone. How's everyone doing today? I heard like you guys have been just up from a lunch, so I hope everyone is doing pretty fine. Okay, so there's a chat box here. So I will be taking you through a topic which already Bhagyashree had introduced, which is I think something which is catching up pretty trendy these days in the technology sector as well as other different industries. It is growing pretty faster, and the name of the technology is ChatGPT. Pretty much it has evolved over a period of time, and we have seen that evolution, and pretty much we are at that crossroad where we are trying to inculcate this new technology into our own day-to-day practices or day-to-day work that we do. And pretty much I will be taking you through this topic today, which is applying ChatGPT and generative AI or artificial intelligence in conversational banking. Thank you. So let me share my screen. I have a presentation to share. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, it's visible, sir.
Okay, so I think we all have had come across this word ChatGPT, right? So I'll be asking some questions. So students, feel free to unmute yourself, and you can just put your invoice or put your thoughts or maybe any knowledge that you have, because this is more like I don't want to keep it just like a speaker session, rather I want to make it more conversation. So if you have anything to address or any questions that I would like to ask, then please feel free to give your answers. I know you guys have different backgrounds, as I think Bhagyashree and Asha had introduced me, and some of you guys have already good experience from the industry. So I would like to also hear from you guys. What do you think? Because this is something as a new area that we are exploring, and it's been almost since last 5 to 6 months. This tool or technology has entered into the industry, and pretty much it is. I would not say like it has gained a lot of momentum lately, but over a period of time, it has caught up with other industries, other sectors, and even in the consumer sector also, it has started gaining momentum. So pretty much we are in line with that, and pretty much as Bhagyashree introduced, like I come from a banking background, pretty close to 12 years of experience. I worked in different other industries, like I worked in manufacturing, I worked with retail, I worked with telecom, I worked with insurance, and the most recently I'm working with the BFSI or the banking sector. So let me start off with this topic. So I think everyone might have heard this word Chat GPT, and when it okay. So Chat GPT is something which has the capability of processing natural languages that humans use. I think we all have started using AI as a new technology. It's been almost a decade. We have explored the capabilities of artificial intelligence, and we started using these new tools in our day-to-day lives. I think everyone uses a smartphone or a tablet or a smart TV, So these devices have their own programs or applications where AI is the backdrop, which uses the human senses to come up with the the relevant solutions that the humans are looking for. And more like the best example of AI could be like the day-to-day browsers that you use, like Google. Google is one of the companies which came up with the first search engine, and later on there were many other companies which also built. But the capability of Google started growing over a period of time because Google was more focused into the human centricity of their solutions or of their products, whether it comes to using voice assistants in YouTube when you're searching your videos, or when you're searching for some typical information in Google search and you use your voice assistants. So AI and processing, like natural language processing, follows up the same, formulas or the same algorithms, pretty much the way ChatGPT does. But the only difference that ChatGPT made over a period of time is how to, there's a system which is in the backdrop, and how humans can interact with the system, and it feels natural. And that is one of the drawbacks which AI had, which over my past experience working with AI tools, was that most of the outputs that was received from the systems or the machines were pretty much, they didn't feel like humans. They didn't have any kind of emotional feel, the way you interact with a human and the way you interact with a machine or a robot. It did have a difference, and that is where ChatGPT came, and it bridged that gap. Pretty much, as we say, like as technology grows and new solutions or new areas are being explored, there also comes a challenge, like how we leverage these technologies. And pretty much, you might have heard in the news that a lot of, like, there was a mixed reaction between critics saying that ChatGPT might be a threat because it will overpower the humans, and it will take up our jobs. And most recently, we have come across a lot of the impacts which has happened in different sectors, including technology as well. So the thing is, like, we humans have also evolved over a period of time, right? So we started with a very prehistoric or a primitive era where we started very basic tools, to maybe hunt, or maybe to gather food. So we have evolved over a period of time where we invented different tools which are going to help us in our day-to-day lives, and it's almost a billion years of evolution. And technology is something which caught up with us almost, I think, not more than 100 years, somewhere around after the second industrial revolution, which was after post the Second World War. So the machine era came. Then we started using industrial machines, which were very, um, what do you say, very cumbersome, very task oriented, which required a lot of trainings for humans to look into it, and also deliver the outcome which was required. The only reason why machines were adopted was to increase the productions of the efficiency of human was lesser in compared to the way machines perform. So that is one of the key purposes why machines took a evolution from the post World War, and we have reached this era where we are using new areas of technology. And it was, I think, in the 60s and 70s when computer programs came. Computers were used, which was earlier mostly for corporations and other industrial jobs. Computers were invented, but over a period of time, there were some companies like Apple, IBM, and Microsoft converted the industrial machines into consumer products. And the latest devices or the latest computers that we see have come over that period. And these computers do have their own software trends, the software upgrades and all, and new tools do evolve. And ChatGPT is one of the tools which is catching up with this trend. So AI powered solutions such as ChatGPT could fuel new types of products in banking. Since I've seen many sectors, and most recently, as I've been working in the banking industry almost a couple of years or more, and I work in the consumer experience domain, a part of the investment and the corporate banking sector, where we overlook different complex dashboards which have all the financial data of our clients and our customers. And when it comes to there are different roles who take care of the different legal processes within the organization. When, for example, a loan is being a customer is applying for a new loan or for a new credit card, or maybe different banking services which are there. So these the processes which are there in line, like these were the legacy processes that we have followed almost close to 4 decades, and these processes become kind of a little complex at times for even human roles to administer. And that is the reason we try to always evolve over the new technology and how we can optimize or reduce the efforts that the human take, or the human task could be made better. So in the banking sector, we try to provide more personalized and more connected experiences to our users. Also, we try to integrate our innovative technologies, which often causes complications in terms of user experience. So there's a notion that when we provide a new technology, then it will offer a better solution or it will reduce the effort. But certain times it doesn't work the way we think. So in the practical world, when we talk about maybe say creating a product and eventually developing it and launching it for our end users. So there are so many other areas that we have to look into, that how is the technology working in the real landscape or the real scenario when it reaches at the launch stage and the users have started. We provide a beta testing for the users, and what is the responses that we're getting. So we get a kind of complex responses. So ChatGPT is still at a very as I said, like it is at a very initial stage, and we are still exploring on the capabilities. It does have some very positive outcomes, which we have like noticed while recently started adopting it. But yeah, there are certain complications also which come along with the package, and this does impact the overall experience that we provided solutions to our banking customers. Now, I will take you through a small case study today where this technology called as ChatGPT and Generative AI is being used by has been used. So this case study is a live case study of an organization called as Bella and a live person who have approached. There's a a global UX design agency which have worked together in a collaboration setup. And their mission was to infuse love and empathy into finance through a conversational banking app. So mostly, I think everyone might have used, different apps for making your day-to-day transactions. So in India, we have different UPI-based apps like PhonePe, Google Pay, where we can easily transfer money to our friends or families at just click of a button, and so. And there are different apps which even different banks have, where you can do a similar kind of task, but maybe a little more elaborative services that you offer, where you can open either a fixed deposit, you can apply for a loan, and so. So these banking apps, over a period of time, had also become pretty complex, where you have to, for every small task, you have to manually, have several clicks. You have to type something, and then you have to submit it. Then you have to wait for the processing. So these all processes have also become pretty cumbersome, because we users also have our expectation that we don't have to go through an entire 15 or 20 minutes of completing an application on an average. And we also want, as we service provider, also wants our users not to take that pain. So that's the reason we explore. So this organization had explored something called as conversational banking, leveraging the capabilities of ChatGPT and Generative AI, and how we'll go through this case study and how it actually works in the conversational banking design sector. Now, here, let's watch a small video. It doesn't have any sound, which will give you a little, it's a kind of marketing video about this app. So you can see, like, this is on an iPhone platform, where you could see a user is actually using his voice to send money to his mom for a dinner. And then they would be able to see the account, check the account details. And these are the different brands who are currently using this product. Now, for this product, it's like going beyond banking and the chatting patterns. So the patterns that we always follow is, like, as I said, like, you have to click something, you have to look into your account details, then you have to make the transaction, enter the account to which you are transferring, then the amount, the numeric amount. Then you have to enter whether you want to, which mode of transfer would you like to use, and then you have to submit it. So this is a particular pattern in which we do, right, in our day-to-day task. Now, this also becomes pretty cumbersome. For example, if someone who is traveling in a metro, and it's like he just want to quickly, he got a notification from one of his family members, like they are like there was some emergency due to which they immediately need to transfer some amount to their account so that they could pay the bills. And this person who's traveling doesn't have much time to actually individually go select each of the details and then they have to submit it. So it's like a typical pattern that we have seen over a period of time, but in every scenario it doesn't work. So how can we solve it? So so typically what Bella did is like they entered, like they required something entirely different, like a full range of banking services through a conversational interface. So the usual interfaces that we see is where you have a login page where you have to enter the username and password, or you, maybe if you have your Face ID registered or maybe other credentials, then you can log in. And once you log in, you see a generic dashboard, and in the dashboard you have different icons which says what kind of services that you can offer. But this platform is more like you don't have to use maybe the chatting patterns or maybe the keyboards. You can use your voice to actually make the transaction happen. So this example here is, you could see like someone who is sending money to for a party, a dinner party that her mom is organizing. So it's just using the voice to convert the verbal speech into textual mode, and this is fed into the system, which recognizes the pattern, and the things that are highlighted in bold is the transaction to whom and for what purpose. So these are autofilled in the background. Now, why do we want to use ChatGPT? Now, see, creating an unconventional ChatGPT like conversation interface required a thorough understanding of the psychological patterns of conversations. So a lot of research went into, even when Google Assistant was voice assistant was invented, or maybe I think some of the technologies have also like Microsoft had their own chatbot called as Cortana, which is now sunset. Apple has Siri. So there are so many voice assistants. But the only issue that they had, like these voice assistants had, is like they did not ever give humans kind of the natural way of interaction, right? As I mentioned earlier. So every human have their own tendency, have their way of expressing certain things, and the psychological pattern also varies when you are having a conversation. For example, if I have a friend whom I'm inviting to my house, so I would definitely call them and I would be very happy, because obviously I'm trying to have a get together with, or a reunion with some of my old friends, and probably I would be excited. And you can watch, or you can listen to that kind of excitement in my voice. Similarly, when someone is giving me a response, I would also judge the reaction, whether that reaction is happy, sad, or maybe annoying, right? So there are different psychological patterns every user have when you are having a conversation, and ChatGPT recognizes that pattern of how, why, and when people use them in the digital environment to achieve their goals. So this is where ChatGPT stood out. It's like it converted the natural language programs into more like human interactions. And just like, even if you are using your devices to interact with, it's similar to you're interacting with a friend, and that is where it stood out. So this is an example of someone who has forgot an umbrella. So in the voice they have given this command like, I forgot it. And someone who wants to check the account details, my own account details, so they have just used their voice to address that, and this is the information or the output that the system gives them. Now, there are different use cases for ChatGPT in banking that we have explored over a period of time. And I think the most used and the most popular is OpenAI, ChatGPT version 4.0. And in that, we have coming across in our day-to-day products that we offer and the services that we offer, we found out there are some 10 common use cases that we have come along. One is account inquiries, right? Now, customers use different chatbots. So if you go to a banking website, and there are some queries related to maybe some transaction that you have made, and the money has not been credited into the person's account. So in that case, chatbots are something which reduces the interaction with the human, because customer or call centers are filled with so many queries, and if you address each of the queries by a human, then probably it will not increase the efficiency of these call centers. That is the reason they leverage chatbots. Now these chatbots could check their account balances, the transaction history, and other account related information. So this was one of the first use case. Second was when you're transferring your funds to someone else's account or maybe a business account, so they can initiate the fund transfer to other accounts or make payments to merchants using chatbots. So you can give the command using a voice to a chatbot, and it will take care of it. It will do some initial level of verification, authenticating the user that whoever is speaking to is the right person, and then they would be able to, take the next task of making the transfer. Now, also for loan applications, chatbots are used, which help customers apply for loans and guide them through the application process. So typically, when you're applying for a loan, whether it's a individual loan or a corporate loan or a bigger uh, an industry wants to buy the shares of some company. So in that case, these loan applications have their own typical protocols, and neither the customers or the call center executives could bypass it. So using the chatbots would help the customers to apply for these loans, and also the entire process of how they would, from the very beginning of applying by filling the details and then getting it approved and eventually getting the funds transferred to the account. So this entire process could also be handled using chatbots. Now, credit score monitoring, I think some of you guys who have been in the banking sector might be aware of, or applied for a credit card or loan. Credit scores are something which monitors your financial health, how well you have repaid your previous balances when you have took a loan or maybe use some money from a credit card. So these credit score monitoring could also be done using chatbots, and it provides tips to how to improve them. So a lot of times customers have, like, for example, if you're not having a good financial health, your credit score will definitely be low, and there are a lot of calls coming from the customers on how I could improvise my score, what are the different techniques, and so. So there may not be a human who will be directly interacting or providing the solution. Rather, the chatbot could also handle those queries. Now, there would be some investment advice, right? So there are different kind of customers who invest in the share markets, bonds, and so. So if someone wants to take some tips and advice related to, which IPOs they want to invest in, or which shares they should buy. So chatbots could also monitor the patterns of the past performance of different IPOs or companies, and accordingly they could give that advice to the customers related to their investment that they would like to make. Then also fraud prevention. So this is also a critical area, because in banking there are 9 risks which are associated, and fraudulent transactions are something which is one of the major risks. And a lot of times we get queries from our customers related to they credited the money to a different account, and that account was blocked later, or they are not able to retrieve that money. Or maybe on a larger scale, for example, there are different terrorist related organizations who have funding associated to different global banks, and how to monitor them and stop these kind of transactions. Right. So there are so many different risks which are associated when it comes to customers or organizations when we are transferring their fund to an individual. So these kind of human errors could also be avoided using chatbots or any kind of suspicious activity which has been monitored in the past related to some customers. Now, the next is customer service, right? So it could be in general to all the 5 use cases that we discussed, or it could be something other than just the banking needs. Like, for example, a chatbot could provide a quick or efficient customer service by answering common questions and resolving some simple issues, right? Related to, for example, a customer has applied for a loan and it has not been approved. So there are some further verifications which needs to be done, and the customer is unsure. And when he has checked the status in his account, it doesn't give a status. So they could interact with the chatbots to get that query related to this typical issue that has been highlighted. And chatbots would be able to monitor that from the customers or the users' account information. They could be able to give the feedback. Also, it could be used for account management. Like it could help customers manage their own accounts, such as setting up automatic payments, updating the personal information, and more. Also, insurance claims, like there are different services, and insurance companies are also associated with the financial transactions, whether it's your health insurance, whether it's your home insurance, your car insurance, your term insurance. There are so many kind of insurances. So these companies do interact, do have a third-party interaction with the financial institutes, and these chatbots could also assist the customers in filling the insurance claims and provide information on the claim processes. Also, it could help for financial planning, like it could help customers with making some decisions related to a budget or setting their own financial goals, right? And it is pretty good. So now let's take a look at the use cases in which we design conversation banking for our product. Now, this product that we saw earlier, which was developed by Bella and UXTA, so it had a 360-degree view dashboard. So it is designed to provide a 360-degree view of users' financials. So the inspiration for this feature came from traveling. So when the designers were working for this product, they felt like when users are traveling, then there are different instances where they could see like a user is interacting or getting the natural environments, and there they're making this conversation happen. So when taking a 360-degree view photo, you can get a full immersive viewpoint from all angles of the places where you have been. So this is similar to the inspiration, like if you want to check your account or the dashboard, then rather than providing a single view where you see all the different services and offerings, which confuses the user further, why not give a panoramic or a full-scale view where the users could actually navigate through the entire space and look into their account-related information? And this feature was something which was called as a 360-degree view of users' finances. Also, it has concierge services, right? So Bella transforms the traditional banking experience by introducing customers to the financial and lifestyle AI powered concierge, right? So you could see like when you're interacting. So in this use case that you see, it is giving you recommendations on the typical. So the query was related to I want to go for dinner, and what are the typical food I would like to eat, and the recommendations came. This is a conversation where someone's birthday is there, and the system is actually wishing them. So these kind of concierge experiences could also be gained, and also guides them through the banking needs while providing an intuitive and user-friendly way to access and explore banking services through a mobile app. For example, if verification is going on, and a lot of times these verifications also need a user to enter the birthday data, right? Date of birth. So this kind of experience gives a little more personalized, or more connecting experience to a user rather than just using drop downs or maybe calendars to fill the date of birth or other details. The easy transactions with sentence patterns. The users can easily initiate the banking transactions through ChatGPT and Siri-like requests by simply saying or typing in the need action, for example, send $200 to my mom. And this app would process the request and confirm with the user and executes it. So before executing the request, because this is more like a financial transaction which is happening, and there are certain verifications which needs to be done from the service provider as well. Because as I said, like in one of the use cases, if there is some fraudulent transaction which may happen, that's why that verification becomes a kind of a protocol in the intermediate step. And once the user confirms and the verification is complete, then this ChatGPT executes this command by transferring this value to the expected user's account. This is where you see like who it is sent to, the amount, and what is the balance which is left. So now to enhance the user experience, a predefined statement is launched where a keyword is triggered and allowed users to learn the sentence pattern for future use. For example, when you are making a transaction similar to this for the first time, then the system also stores a record, right? ChatGPT does have a record of the earlier transaction, similar to the way you see in our current banking apps, where you go to the transaction history, right? Where you can see all the account which, sorry, the all the money which has been debited or credited to your accounts, which day, with the date stamps and everything. Here, it also keeps a record of it. It doesn't show you the record, but that pattern is just to identify by the system in the past whether this user has used a similar pattern to transfer amount to someone, so it doesn't have to ask or do the same kind of verification again. Now here you could see a user is giving a command like send this much amount to someone from my checking and add a note or a medium. So the amount you could see in the next step comes how much would be the amount once the user confirms the amount. Then it gives a status that the amount has been transferred. And the next step is if you want to schedule a auto payment or a recurring payment like this, then you could actually schedule like the intervals, as you could see in the third page. Also, ChatGPT could be used for card management, right? So users can conveniently manage their cards through this app. So you have different credit cards, debit cards, and mostly when it comes to using an app for monitoring your cards balances, history, or maybe transactions, then it comes to like credit cards, right? Which does have a lot of financial history, and you have to keep a check on the dates when you are, you know, when a bill is generated and you are paying on time, and so it becomes pretty convenient when you are leveraging the same over a virtual platform, right? Where you could see the details about your card, not every detail, because that is for authentication purposes. You could see your PIN, right? You could freeze your account in case there is a fraudulent transaction which has happened. You can see the entire the card's health, whether you have reached the limit or whether you are underutilizing it. So all these credit health could also be monitored here. Also, it could help you to find a specific area. For example, if you're using a debit card and you want to quickly, there's some need where you want to quickly, what do you say, like withdraw some cash from the ATM. So here you could see like there's a map which gives you an overall picture of the nearby places where you would find that ATM, and you can reach them as soon as possible to get the cash which is you need. Also, this app would allow users to create savings account to ChatGPT like natural language interactions, right? So if, for example, there's the XYZ bank, and for this bank, a new customer wants to open a new account for some day-to-day needs. So for opening a new account, the legacy processes goes like in the typical way it happened earlier is like you have to go to a bank, you have to get the form from the counter, you have to enter all the details of the form, then you have to attach your attested copies of the proofs of documents that you need, like your address proof or your identification proof, and then you have to submit the document. Then after a certain period of time, if you provide your mobile number or other details, then you get SMS that your account has been opened and it has been approved. So this is like somewhere 10 to 15 years back. This is how a typical account opening process was. But in our latest day-to-day, day-to-day life that we see as of the moment, everything has become pretty digitized, and we don't have to physically present ourselves in the bank. Rather, you can download the app, you can create an account, and then you can log in. Then you can go to a form or a icon which says like open your account, and then you have to fill all the details. You could do a self verification, like you can click pictures of the document you would like to submit, or you can upload them. And then to verify your facial data, you can use your front camera to take a selfie, and then it will match up with the documents that you've submitted, and then it will be submitted, and then it will go to the processing stage. So So the same task could be made more simpler for users when they're opening their account using ChatGPT. Like for example, uh, as you could see in the three steps, like first is oh sorry, this is not linked to account opening, but this is more linked to when you want to invest some amount in some company. Like for example, here you could see like there's a company called as Tesla, and there's a customer who wants to buy some shares from Tesla because they feel like if I invest here, I'll be in profits. Then they would ask you to add a photo that suits a Tesla car, and you have to confirm it, and you have to choose the amount that you would like to save, and then you confirm it, or you can do it later also. So this is some of the other capabilities of using this application. Now, this is a small example of how you could create a financial goal, right? If you want to, in future, you want to save some, like a lot of students and also a lot of freshers or new working professionals, everyone have their own financial goal that they want to meet. So in this case, you could see like you would like to, if someone wants to save money in future, they want to, pay for the fees of a school, or they would like to invest the money into some NGOs or some organizations for a specific charity or something. So they could create these financial goals here, and you could see like it gives you recommendations on what is the amount that you could save, and over a period of time, how much time it will take you to save that amount, and how you have achieved the target once you have transferred the amount. And in future, if you would like to repeat the same process, you could do that. So these are the typical, uh, you know, steps that you take to achieve a financial goal or a financial need. And using Chat GPT, where you could actually interact with the system and you can give them the commands, it becomes more convenient or comfortable for the users to set these financial tasks. Also, it is safe for digital assets, right? Now, there's a feature within this application called a safe box. It's like typically like a safe deposit that you have in a bank where you can put everything. Though it's a digital store, it's not a physical safe deposit. It would allow users to store personal photos, documents, access cards, and other sensitive information in a secured and encrypted manner, right? So just like we have different apps now, and some of them are also monitored by our government agencies, where any identification related proofs and everything, you can use a kind of a locker where you could, these are very individual and sensitive information which any customer would not like to be accessed by anyone, but it could be accessed by the users in case they would like to use some services and they have to do some validations, and from this safe box they could actually extract that digital asset and upload it into that specific form which they are trying to fill. Also, it is pretty encrypted. As these are sensitive information, they needs to have some level of encryption behind. And as people increasingly use smartphones to store important information, there is a growing need to add security measures because, as you said, like one of the risks comes as fraudulent transactions, someone having access to customers' data. You might have noticed, like we get a lot of these spam calls from different, whether you would like to go for a credit card. So these information are actually loose information about a customer which has been rolled out or leaked out, and there are different companies who hunt for these kind of customer related information so that they could sell their products to them. But since within a bank, when you are creating this safe deposit, it is encrypted, adding a level of security also helps you to maintain your data being leaked anywhere else. And this digital safe has more advanced security measures, and it allows users to easily access and locate the digital assets through this app links. And in the images that you could see, this is a safe box where someone has some identification information clicked as a picture, which has been added to this uh, vault. Also, it could be community driven. Like there is some a feature called as karma account. So karma in the typical world is like you want to do good for others, and you want to go for charity, you would like to make a transaction for a specific NGO, or you want to sponsor the education of a school child. So this account helps you do all those transactions. And in the marketing execution, the Vela team decided to go through their own unique way, and they decided to abandon the traditional banking marketing approach and focus on the community development. So these days, there are so many community driven initiatives that different corporates and industries have took initiatives on, and pretty much the same kind of offering if they could provide it for the customers, because there are customers who could be either located in different geographies, like they are not in the same country, they might be in different countries, but they would like to contribute certain things for a specific reason or a purpose, like a philanthropic need. They could use the service to do that, and they would send the entire advertising budget to the users in the form of a random cashback. So once you do that, then you can receive cashbacks and some kind of incentives which motivates the user that they could repeat the same cycle or schedule these kind of transactions which could occur in the future. Now, these are some of the key takeaways that we found in conversational banking with ChatGPT like experience, and it opens up new edges. Now, what Bella did is, so this is towards the end of the presentation I'm just reaching, and I just kept, after this, we'll keep it open for everyone for any questions or answers for the next half an hour, and then we can move. So in this, Bella demonstrated the potential for using conversational banking, ChatGPT like AI and machine learning solutions to provide new types of banking, which is more enriched with personalized contextual responses that establish an emotional bond with the user. So in the banking industry, what happened is like the kind of solutions or the products that we offer for our customers or for users, right? So these products never gave users to have a more kind of a personalized experience. So if the best example could be like you guys might be using different OTT platforms like Netflix and Prime or Disney or Hotstar. So these platforms have gained a lot of momentum because of leveraging the personalized experiences. Like for example, if I'm watching a movie, that these patterns do come from, like in the banking sector also, it has been inspired from them. If you're watching a movie, then similar to the genre that you're watching, it will give you recommendations. It will identify that pattern. You can use your voice commands to actually search for a typical genre. So similarly in banking, the services or the offerings that we provide, these kind of personalized experience or the contextual responses do motivate the user to use the different services, and kind of increases the efficiency and reduces the effort that it takes. Also, we try to deep dive more into the digital human behavior. So there is two aspects. One is a physical human who is physically present in front of you, and there's a chatbot or a digital human being which you're interacting with. So how would the responses vary, right? It's kind of a conscience where whenever we are interacting with a machine, we do get our own insecurities. Okay, whether these machines would understand us or it will understand our commands or not. So making it more communicative or more natural, interactive with the humans, the machines have also given a sense of security to the humans that we are there for you, we are going to take care. And it required a lot of courage and an innovative approach to combine the cutting edge technology with a design rooted in the beauty, love, and empathy. Right. So a lot of times, what happens is like, since I come from a design background, and I've seen we work hand in hand with the evolving technologies over a period of time, and a lot of times what I have noticed, I've seen like these technologies do have their own limitations when it comes to when it comes to interfacing a human, right? So you use your smartphone or your tablet to enter a command, but you never get a kind of personal feel. For example, if you want to order food on an online application, so you would use either different features within that application, like voice or maybe type, or use a keyboard to enter the information. Then you have to eventually add to a cart and make the payment. But look into that similar experience that you get when you go to a physical, experience that you get in a restaurant, or maybe in McDonald's. You want to order a few items from McDonald's, and you are in the counter, and there's a human which is interacting with you and takes the order. So this kind of personal experience does miss when you're using these devices, and that uh, that gap has to be addressed. And pretty much ChatGPT as a new tool has took that up really well, where um, you know it has bridged that gap of the responses that the system would give to a human when a human is asking some queries. Also, this case study illustrates an example of how disruptive AI technologies such as ChatGPT could be integrated into the banking experience with the help of a customer-centered UX design. Because usually, ChatGPT had caught up in different other sectors. Banking is actually something, I'll be frank with you, like when it comes to technology adaptation in the banking sector, since banks have a lot of customer records and a lot of financial information, the adaptation to new technology becomes pretty cumbersome for the banks also, because there are so many migrations which happen, and even the financial sector or the industries are not convenient with that. So it takes some time to build that use case or kind of POCs where you could prove that this product is going to work in the real landscape that we are offering to our customers or our users. So that's why, if this kind of technology could be leveraged in a challenging sector like banking, and making it more customer centered for the users, it could also be leveraged in many other sectors as well. Just look into its capabilities. So by treating customers as human beings and reducing the stress and frustration which is often associated with dealing with the finances. A lot of times when it happens, it's like when we are using a digital application, as I mentioned, we have our own insecurities. Yeah, money won't be transferred to someone, or maybe I do not do not fall into a scam where I lose my money. So there's so many insecurities when it comes to, and I think in the recent times we have seen these cases increasing over a period of time. So to reduce that, banks have also tried to increase the securities of the user's account as one of the features that we saw, which is a safe box where all the sensitive information are encrypted and additional safeties help to protect that information, similar to the financial data as well. And it does reduces the stress and frustration which most humans have when they're interacting with a digital device or a digital application. Now, also, this case study helps you to understand that establishing a true friendship between customers and their financial institution, which also helps in opening new possibilities for the banking industry. So we have, when it comes to uh, increasing the loyalty of our customers, or maybe uh, NPS scores could also be increased for the businesses. So to do that, we have to come up with areas or products which do provide a delight to our customers. It reduces the painstaking tasks that they earlier did, and in that way we also try to make ourselves stand out from our other competitors, because as we see, like every financial institution also keep on competing with one another with coming up with different products and services. But creating these kind of offerings, leveraging new age technologies like ChatGPT and Generative AI, we are able to provide better solutions and offerings to our customers. And in future also, we can grow the needs of our customers, and accordingly, we can come up with new features which would help them, our customers succeed, and also our organization succeed as well. So thank you. Also, that is pretty much it from my end. I don't have much to cover, so we'll keep the forum open for Q&As. We have a little extra time with us, maybe a little more than 30 minutes. So if anyone has any questions or any queries, you can drop your queries either in the chat box. I see some queries which have come along. Okay, so I'll go one by one. Give me a moment. Yes. So I'll address each of your queries, and also anyone who has not dropped a question in your chat box can feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. Yes. So, I'll read one by one. So this question came from Nagaraju, right? So Nagaraju asks, "Sir, behavioral changes over the period can be done or not? Can we analyze that? Please explain." Nagaraju, are you there in the call? Okay. Okay. So I don't see Nagaraju in the call, but I'll answer this question. Okay. So basically, what he says is that behavioral changes could like changes over the period of time, which can be done or not. Can we analyze that? Okay. Uh, as I said, we have seen the evolution of technologies and behavioral changes. I didn't know, I didn't understand this question properly, because when you talk about behavioral changes, whether it is specific to the system or the humans, uh, humans have also evolved over a period of time. But I think the five basic senses doesn't change for a human, uh, right? Like what we see, what we smell, what we touch, what we taste. So these senses doesn't change. For system to catch up with this trend, also they have to align themselves with the five senses that a human uh, utilizes, like seeing something or listening something, right? So these capabilities within the system can be developed over a period of time, because every behavior of a human, as I said, like every human have their own aspiration, or have different patterns, right? And what we could do is we could analyze the patterns of a maybe smaller group or maybe a larger community, and accordingly we can provide the offerings where system would be able to analyze each of these patterns and come up with responses. So this is what we could do to study or analyze the changes in the behavior over a period of time. Now the second question is, please confirm what is the difference of using net banking and chatbots. So this question was by Devdutt Shastri. Are you there in the call, Devdutt? Yeah, I think I can see you there. Devdutt, can you unmute yourself? Mm. So I just wanted to understand a little more. What was your question? Like, what is the basic difference between net banking and chatbots? Devdutt, you're there? Okay. So Bhagishri, are you there? So students, I just wanted to inform you, like you can unmute yourself and you can verbally tell me the queries, because there are some of the questions that you've asked in the chat boxes might require further insights.
Hello, sir. This is Sapna here.
Yeah, hi, Sapna. Yeah,
Hi. I have a question regarding the security of this ChatGPT, because in spite of so many firewalls and high security, there are accounts that gets hacked. So similar thing can happen with ChatGPT, right? So what is the is there any such event already reported?
Yes. So as I mentioned, I think in the finance sector, the banking sector, security comes as a very key step, because, as I said, like there are sensitive information related to our customers, our history, our relationship with them. So we don't want to break it. So that is the reason we try to take the leverage, additional tools or technologies which could give that level of security or the loyalty to our customers, that that data is going to be, or the financial information is going to be safe for us. But as I already mentioned, like ChatGPT is a kind of a new tool, and we have just started its adoption in the financial sector.
Mm-hmm.
I would say like it has, like we are still exploring on the security. We have some protocols in place, because there are some basic ethics that we have to follow when we are implementing a new solution in the banking services sector, and that includes safety as one, encryption and safety as one of the key features. So ChatGPT, we are doing the POCs for that, and we are as I said, like it is still at the level of experimentation. I would not say it is 100% foolproof, but over a period of time, we will try to make it as robust and as secured as possible for our customers. So this is still at a very initial or a exploratory stage, and the safety protocols, we are keeping that in mind when we are developing.
Okay, I do have another question in general to Chat GPT, not only for banking sector.
Yeah.
As we all know, human beings are social animals.
Yes.
And you just mentioned in a couple of minutes ago that it might completely replace human interaction.
Yeah.
So I think it is going to have a kind of psychological effect on well-being of human as a whole. So is there any regulatory body that says that this has to be limited to certain field? I mean, it cannot be used everywhere. Is there any such regulatory body? I think there is a need for such body because it will disrupt everything.
Yes.
So is there something like that?
That's a very good question, because when it comes to leveraging new technologies and exploring new areas where these technologies keep on growing, so there needs to be some kind of governance or some policies which govern these technologies, because pretty much as we say, like as I already mentioned, that there are certain ethical practices which are being developed by different organizations who develop these kind of tools. So ChatGPT came up as a open source development. It was not organization which was providing its license, as you might be aware of. Then later on, there was organization which bought ChatGPT under its umbrella, and whoever is leveraging ChatGPT in their own products or as a solution, then there are certain policies that you have to follow, which the company which owns ChatGPT has laid in place. So that is one. Second is can I see some background noises kind of? Yeah. So that's why I would not say there is a global body or a local body which is which provides this governance model. As I said, like there are certain countries like US, then UK, and in Europe, they have their own policies in place when you are leveraging AI or chatbots or kind of ChatGPT like capabilities. But specifically for our region, like Asia Pacific and India, we don't have a kind of a body here which proves that governance model. We try to follow what happens in the global level, and those practices we try to adopt when we are launching a new product in our domestic market. But pretty much, I feel like we also, like in this region, we should also have this kind of governance or a policy which defines on how ethically we practice or leverage these technologies, and it doesn't become a threat for the humans in future when we are using or completing our goals or tasks. So that is to answer your question.
Thank you. Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for anyone? I'll just read through the other questions. Yes, Devdat, you're there?
Yeah.
Yes, Devdat. So, yeah.
In last questions, I would like to continue. What will be the employment level impact immediately in case of banking sector? Because in manufacturing terms, I can predict somewhere, but in banking sector, where the impact will be there? Because considering this chat GPT applications, many things are getting without any experience or without anything, we can get large number of data with us, and with that we can, without any experience, we can getting that data, and based on database we can work. So where the experience or the employment impact will be there?
Okay. So I see like there are two sides of the question. One is related to how like the threat for our human jobs being replaced by chat.
Right.
And that is one. Second question I could not get. Can you repeat that? The data related the question that you asked.
Yeah, data related means I am from manufacturing sector, so I can correlate like that. People are using ChatGPT for this getting the database or something like that, and
Right.
based on that they can put their presentations, mails, or some that communication, everything get improved. That's
Right.
fine. And
Yeah.
based on that, overall, some areas were there where analysis are required, or wherever in that area, because of the chat GPT, it will become easy way, or some kind of thing that employment get reduced.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
such kind of thing, how the banking will get impacted, I just want to get.
Yes. So yes, I understand your question. So basically, we have seen over a period of time, and I think a lot of uh, kind of assumptions were made, like due to the massive layoffs which happened in the tech sector recently and in other industries as well. So there were questions whether it is like, is ChatGPT has already systems like ChatGPT have, or chatbots have started replacing humans? Yeah, it does have an impact. I would say I would not disagree to it. It has impacted the overall job landscape. And if you see, it has not been just recently. We just talked about ChatGPT as a threat. The reason being, we have seen the past set of events very recently only, and it was. I would not say the impact in the employment sector was just because of ChatGPT, but there were other areas where companies wanted to reduce their costs. They have to do some cost cuttings because, yeah, you might be aware of every employees were in the virtual mode of working, and all of a sudden the inflation rised, and due to which companies also could not afford. They had overhired, so they had to shed off a lot of employees. So there were XYZ factors associated with it, not particularly due to ChatGPT, I would say, but just to give a confidence to the answer that I gave would be like, it's not like just ChatGPT coming and trying to replace humans. If you remember, since you already come from a manufacturing background, automation was a tool which I guess was introduced somewhere around 5 to 6 years back, right? If you have heard this word automation, right?
Correct.
So automation, the key purpose when automation was introduced in the manufacturing or the production industry, and there were also so many panics going on that on the shop floors of manufacturing units, the humans would also get evaded, and there will be just a human who will be controlling the system, and everything will be automated. It did had an impact in the manufacturing industry, but eventually, see, the thing is like, we cannot ignore the fact like technology won't evolve. Just like automation came and brought a disruption, even ChatGPT and other tools in future would do. If we keep on sticking on to our way of criticizing just technologies and not adapting with it, then there might be a chance we might lose our jobs as well. So the best of interest would be to evolve yourself, adapt yourself with these new areas, because a lot of times what happens is like, you have to even to make yourself relevant in the industry, to make yourself your knowledge useful, you have to learn the new knowledge which is coming along. You cannot just hold on to the information which you have already received and you feel like the world would not change. By the time you would realize it, the world would have changed, and it would have so the more relevant we as humans or employees make ourselves working or leveraging these technologies, working hand on hand with them, probably there are very few chances that you might lose a job, right? And it would not also impact the employability overall. It will impact in some other way, just like automation did, but there will be other ways in which these employees could be engaged. Well, there would be some areas which would be closed down, but new areas which might open up, right? So that is my
Correct.
answer.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, now can we take the next question? This question was asked by Venu Paul Reddy. How is it different from auto debits in finance use case, setting up automatic payments? Okay, so when you can you just unmute yourself and elaborate this question if you're there in the call? Okay, it seems like. So how is it different from the auto debits in finance use case setting up automatic payments? What I understand from the question is like this is similar to paying your EMIs or auto debits as in your car loan. It's pretty much the same, I would say. It's see, the thing is like uh, any new tool which comes, we leverage the tool. We do not forget the past or the history of how the tool was developed or how that particular process works. So it is pretty much the same. It is not different from the way we do in the way we do our current transactions. And when it is you're setting up a typical calendar day, you just use a voice to give the commands to a system. It does pick up those key words, and then it schedules the kind of dates and a particular amount which has to be transacted on that particular. So I don't think it is different than what it is in the current landscape. Okay, so there is someone. Okay, so Purva, there's a student called as Purva. Purva, are you there in the call? Okay, so now I think I've just scanned through the questions or the queries from the chat box. So anyone has any further questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and raise the questions. Any other questions by anyone?
Yes, students, any questions? Please ask.
Hi, Rakesh.
Hi.
So I'm just new to this technology, so I have not used it at all. So in order to get it started with it, I just searched in Google how to start with ChatGPT, and I got a platform.openai.com. That is the link.
Yes.
So is that the correct ChatGPT page where we can explore ourselves and get information how we can use this technology for our field?
Yes. So the parent of ChatGPT is OpenAI, right?
Okay.
So OpenAI is the parent company which owns ChatGPT, the tool. So as we see OpenAI, it is similar to other tools like GitHub, which are pretty much open source. But there are different organizations and also different developers who create their own account on these platforms, and there are licensed and non-licensed versions which they use based on the typical use case or the business case. So based on what your need is, if you want to maybe, for example, create a new app or develop a new app leveraging ChatGPT, then OpenAI could be one of the same platform that you mentioned. You could integrate the APIs within your tool, and you can start integrating the feature and start developing it. So yes, you're right. So OpenAI is the platform where.
Okay. And is there any other tool which we can explore just for learning?
Yeah, so OpenAI was the first platform which developed ChatGPT. I think this was in the year 2022 towards, and around November it had launched itself. And following up with that, like after it got launched and the capabilities were explored, there are so many other computers which got up. There was A.O. Smith. As far as I know, like I don't know a lot of computers because ChatGPT, because in my banking use case, we try to use the licensed versions. But there are other tools that I am aware of which you can leverage. I think one more tool which is mostly used by creatives and designers is called as Midjourney AI, which is converting keywords to images. Yeah, these are some of the tools I know which are competing with ChatGPT.
All right. Thank you very much, Rakesh.
Most of them. Now, Sandeep has asked a question like the user voice recognition will also be used while interacting to ChatGPT in banking. Okay. So that is the question, right? Sandeep, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So what was your question exactly?
See, like Bella, what you explained, if we give command to the Bella, like to send the money to my mom, okay. So
Right.
does the Bella will understand the right person is giving that instruction, like the user or someone else on behalf of him using that phone? So is that combination or some security will be available?
Yes. So first level of security is making the user log into the account, right? So there are different ways in which a user could be authenticated, maybe using the face IDs, or as I said, like your login pins or passwords. So after the authentication is complete, pretty much, I think your question is very, very relevant, because what if instead of, for example, I, Rakesh, have opened an account in Bella. I have provided my authentication, but I give this application to someone else which is not Rakesh's voice, rather someone who is either a friend or family to Rakesh. So how will it do? As I said, like voice recognition, just like facial ID recognition, is also a kind of every user have their own kind. What do you say? Have their own voice patterns, right? Not two users, similar to not two users having similar facial features, voices will not be also the same. I would not say this additional feature of recognizing the actual user's voice has been developed yet, because it is still as I said, like the security features, the safety features, these are still under experimentation. But just like, as I said, like the facial recognition feature, maybe 3 or 4 years back, it did not exist, right? So the first company which developed this feature, the facial ID, was Apple, when they used this feature to recognize every user's own facial features, and you have to set it up once, and then the user would be able to log into the iPhones or other Apple devices using this feature. So similarly, voice recognition is also at an early stage, and though ChatGPT has started reaching out, and as it said, like it has different use cases where it identifies the behavioral patterns of the user. So if there is some kind of a diciness in the voice of a user, or maybe some change in the patterns which it doesn't identify, then it will take an additional safety by either not take the command, or maybe block the account, or do something like that. So this is still under development, as I said, the additional safety features, and there's different use cases around it. So we are like exploring around it here. Okay, does that answer your question, Sandeep?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, we have 9 more minutes to go. If anyone else has any questions, please feel free.
One more question is there.
Yeah,
How can we get expertise with this chart GPT? Because this trend is going on and continuously will be then generation become the chart GPT. It seems like that. So how can we become expertise, or everybody will become expertise in chat GPT? Then what will happen? What is the result of that? Just means I am asking hypothetical question.
I know this is a very futuristic question that you asked, but yeah, kind of relevant. See, to answer that question, I'll just, again, you might have noticed, like I keep on going back in time and again coming. So I would do that, because the future that we build is not just from our present; it is from the past as well. So if we look into a time when we didn't have mobile phones, right? If you remember, a couple of decades back, when mobile phones or handset devices or touch screen devices were still at a very early stage of development, we didn't expect that what the outcome would be when at certain period of time in future, when everybody would have a smartphone, then what the outcome would be. See, as I said, like every new advancement has its pros and cons, right? We know what are the pros as an individual, we know, or we know as a community where everyone has started using smartphones, what are its pros and cons. Though we have everything at just a simple click of a button, but the cons also we know. There are changes in social patterns or behaviors. which is more related to the health related issues and everything. So technology is also work around in that direction, that it would have its pros and cons, but kind of educating yourself and kind of leveraging technology when and where there's a need rather than misusing it would be something which is an ethical pattern that we have, as every individual have to follow. As I said, like ChatGPT is kind of a very initial stage of when the first smartphone came into market a couple of decades back. So we have now just begun. It will take the shape or form for 10 years or 20 years down the line, no one can predict. Eventually, it will take some shape where everyone will start using it, just like the way we are currently doing us to our smartphones. Everyone is a smartphone user. Uh, but how we use it is what would matter, right? So there's so many threats in the world, right? So technology also is being adopted for good and wrong purposes. So it's the responsibility of an individual, um, as a community, as a nation, or globally, that we leverage the new age technologies in a right direction rather than putting them into wrong use. So that's why that would be the best answer I would have, because I'll just give an example, just like the example that I gave you about mobile phones. So this is a movie I'm talking about, which is more relevant to this new era. I don't know how many of you watched. It was a 1970s movie called as 2001: A Space Odyssey, a direction by Stanley Kubrick. So it's a very montage or historical American movie, where it talks about, um, the first sequence of the movie goes like where a primitive man throws a bone on the air and the bone becomes a spaceship. And that is where we have evolved from using basic tools to a new tool, like to the latest tools that we're using. Uh, what happens in in that spaceship, there is a AI, which is actually hovering the spaceship in the universe. Over a period of time, that AI was being leveraged by humans. The humans were giving commands of uh, which directions and all that, and the AI in that spaceship used to take the human commands. Then what happened as a time grew, then humans started becoming in that spaceship started becoming each other's enemies. And then this pattern was identified by the AI, and the AI also started treating the humans as an enemy. And it took a command of the entire spaceship and driving them into the darkness. So this is what would be, I would say. So this is a kind of a little scary warning. But if we as humans, or we as community, or we as a social animal, we do not take like the social responsibility and the individual responsibility of leveraging these tools in the right direction, eventually these tools will also get misguided, right? So it's similar to teaching your own child on while uh, trying to teach them how to grow up, and teaching them the basic lessons. Similarly, these machines also needs to be trained, and if you train them in the right direction, it will help us as a human civilization also grow. While if you teach them, misguide them, then they will also not give you the same response that you would be expecting. So yeah, that is what I would say about it. Okay. Does that answer your question, Devda?
Yeah, completely agree with you. Thank you. Understood.
Okay, we just have 2 more minutes. Any other questions by anyone?
Yeah, students, if you have any questions, we can take one last questions and we'll just go towards the end of the session then. We can take one more question, students. If you have any, please ask.
Seems like
I think they got everything, so they don't have any questions or anything. So I think we can wind up and go to the vote of thanks. But before vote of thanks, we just want a quick snapshot with you. Can we have a picture of yours with our students?
yeah.
So I would request students to kindly switch on their camera so that sir can also see you all on the Saturday afternoon. So team can Bhageshri ma'am. Yeah, I
It's a
request
Sunday,
Bhageshri ma'am also.
Sunday.
So team, please let us know whenever you are ready.
Yes, done, ma'am. Can I take?
Yes. So smile, please, everyone. Done?
Yes, ma'am, done. Thank
Oh,
you.
yes. So thank you so much, sir. It was our privilege to have you in this Spectrum platform, that is the virtual conclave of MIT. Thank you so much for taking out your time, that too on the Sunday, and your thoughts and insights regarding ChatGPT in the conversational banking were truly remarkable. The examples that you shared with the students and the Q&A in terms with all the student question and answers which we had, that was really helpful. So thank you so much, and we would love to have many more sessions with you in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Asha. Thank you, Bhaviji. Thank you, everyone. Even
Thank
I,
you, sir.
thank you so much.
Students, please wait till the end. We have some announcements for the next conclave sessions. So please wait. Yeah. Team, can we launch the survey poll? Thank you so much, students, for your active participation in this week of conclave. I hope you all enjoyed all the 6 sessions that we had in this week of conclave spectrum. I would really like to thank my entire team, academic, Bhageshri ma'am. Thank you so much for your support. Also, we would love to have you all in the next spectrum sessions as well that we are conducting on 24th and 25th. Please do join for that sessions. We would be having an interesting topics on that as well. So we would love to have you all in that spectrum session. So thank you so much.